Welcome back. In part 1, we left off with sharp edges sharpened with a file. And in part 2, we're going to continue on using diamond stones to hone and polish our edges. Let me start out by saying that if you're new to tuning skis and using a file seems intimidating, you can start off with a diamond stone and a file guide. And you can definitely maintain your edges if you first get them sharp and you do this frequently. It's a lot harder to do damage that you can possibly do with a file with diamond stones. So for kids or parents that are a little bit intimidated by filing the edges of a ski, you can start with a 200 grit and a 400 grit diamond stone. Start by making sure that your file guide is clean and free of burrs. You can use some light sandpaper or a Fibertex pad to take care of that. It's important to lubricate your diamonds. It's not totally essential, but it will do a better job and the life of your diamond will increase big time. Take some soapy water in a spray bottle. Oops. And go ahead and spray your diamond stone. You can also spray the edge of the ski if you like to do it that way. And with light pressure, you can rub back and forth, tip to tail, tail to tip, and up tip to tail. After a little while, after a few strokes, you're going to hear a different sound, and it's going to feel smoother. Then it's time to move on to the next diamond stone. Keep your diamond stones clean as well. Lubricate them. As you go up in diamond grits, it's going to be a little quieter and feel smoother. And that was a 400 grit. If you want to go on to a 600 grit or more, go for it. It's not totally essential. And when you're done, take a dry cloth or paper towel and just clean the dirty water off your sidewall. Now you have a very sharp ski and a very smooth edge. Now it's time for the final touches. So after all the sharpening is complete, your skis are sharp, the last thing you need to do is deburr and detune if necessary. Now, as I said before, after you sharpen your skis, there's a little bit of a burr that hangs off the side edge this way. Some people call it a hanger. It's very small, but in most snow conditions, that burr or hanger can make your skis feel very hooky and grabby. If you're on bulletproof ice, some people might want a hanger. But for junior ski racers, I recommend taking the hanger off. I think it's a great idea to experiment with it on training days and bring a gummy or a diamond stone, start out with a hanger, take it off, see how it feels. But for most conditions, unless the snow is really hard, just go ahead and take it off. This is how I do it. I start by pressing a very fine diamond stone, this one's a 1500 grit, along the base. And then I angle it just a little bit. I'm exaggerating so you can see it, but I angle it just a little bit so that the diamond just touches the corner of the edge. And if the room is quiet, you can hear it taking off the hanger. So I do one stroke that way, and then I lay my diamond stone on the side edge, light pressure. One that way, and then one more on the base edge. Then you'll have a ski with no hanger, but very sharp. Another way to do it, and if you're very new at tuning skis, this might be the better way, is to take a medium gummy and very lightly, with not much pressure, drag it along the corner of the ski's edge. Once you've done that, you also may want to detune the tip and tail a little bit. It's good to have sharp edges all the way up into the tip, but in certain conditions, too sharp way up here will not feel good. So the best way to do this is to press lightly with the gummy, one stroke, 2-stroke, 3 strokes. You can feather it in so that you've taken more strokes up here, less down here. It goes from more dull to more sharp. You may have noticed that we haven't talked about the base edge at all. Base edge is the one that's along the base of the ski. The side edge is this one here that's facing up. The reason why we haven't talked about the base edge is because a new ski prep will have dealt with the base edge, set the bevel, polished it, and that's all you need to do. Unless you have damage on the base edge, in which case you would need to use a rough diamond stone to take off the burr, there's no need to sharpen from the base edge side. All the sharpening, once the base edge is set, can be done on the side edge. If you continue to bevel and file the base edge, after a while you'll have a really base high ski and an overly beveled base edge. So, it's very important. Once the base edge is set, don't touch it unless you need to deburr from damage. And finally, some troubleshooting. If you're running into problems, that's normal. It happens. I'm going to try to help you out with a few of the problems that I see to be most common. When you're filing, if you see sidewall material, in this case this is red, sometimes it's black, getting into your file, you need to stop and plane your sidewalls. You will not get anywhere if you are hitting sidewall when you're trying to file your skis. Another thing is if you hear a strange noise, high-pitched noise, when you're filing, typically that means that you're encountering case hardening, heat hardening, same thing, or rock damage. Heat hardening you'll typically see in the tips and tails. Rock damage you'll see anywhere along the ski. Best thing to do for that is to take a 100 grit diamond stone, use your file guide, rub it, and then go back to using your file. Sometimes you have to do that a few times, but you'll get through the hardening with a 100 grit diamond stone. Dull files, if you have to press really hard, there could be a lot of things going on, but usually your file is quite dull or dirty. So you need to keep your file clean. When they're not working anymore, when they're dull, chuck them. There's no use. You're just going to get cut fingers and scarred hands. That's all for today. I hope it helps you sharpen your skis. Thanks for watching.